Good morning. It's the crypto day morning for today's date, Monday, the third day of December 2018. It's also the sixth day of the correctionary phase within the 18 average on the daily term time frame for Bitcoin, all trades, bets, and of the like. Within one's own risk reward, for myself, risk reward management is always job number one. And we can see just hanging in there within the 18 average of lows. It still hasn't had a test within the 18 average of highs. If it can continue over into tomorrow, holding above 4,000, that's enough to make the 18 average flatten out. But it now comes down to this range that it has been trading within those 5-6 days. And when we take a look at this on some shorter term time frames, we can see that this level in around here has been a significant resistance area. Maybe put the line somewhere in that general area. After all, this low is a little bit low, or this high was a little bit lower than this one. And then a level of support, not only there, but of course within this key level. So breaking down below in here, I would expect that if it's decently around like the 37 and high change level, that we're probably going to go back and at least retest the 3500 level. And doing such there, I'm not too excited on its test results likelihood. If coming down to 35, as I've been expecting, a move to 3,000 on the break of the 6,000 level, so for the last little while, and of course I've been talking about it for a decent amount of time as far as short-term analysis is concerned. Since this down move occurred last night, it has grinded its way higher, correction, so combination of correcting through both time and price at the same time, because it's going higher but barely. Although there's this little period in here which turned out to be the previous hour at the 7 o'clock time frame. It's right now 8:42 a.m. Eastern time. So we take a look at this move. It got above this very short-term level of resistance at the 4,000, well, 39.91, whatever, and has now came back to the 18 average in here. So therefore, the correctionary move from this point, he's already established this level at 4,000 and a quarter. So above, you see at 39, you see it breaking 4,000 barely like this. I would expect that it's gonna travel at least up to about the end of the 4060s and 15-minute time frame. Of course, that is very short-term analysis, and now I'm just done covering Bitcoin. So let's move on to the altcoins. And when I say I'm done talking about Bitcoin, I mean in this video, of course. Okay, so since this low on ETH land, that's the ticker symbol LEND, it had this retracement down, of course, towards this level, and at 239 now. It got up to the 18 average of highs November 29th, came back the next day to the lows, and the day after that broke out. So today's and yesterday's session has just been hanging in there within the 18 average of highs. Looking at this on a more shorter term level, putting in a nice little horizontal ray again. There was originally this level of resistance down in here. That you can use that key level, maybe just rise it up a little bit, but obviously just within this time frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like all these periods just hanging in there within the 18 average of highs really tells me that there's a decent chance that this thing might be ready for some sort of decent break. And when I look at this line in here, it looks as if, because it's spending a lot more time within it, that it's possibly ready to go and breaking it above it. I wouldn't be surprised if it has a fast move, maybe getting close to the 300 level, high 200s, and possibly even breaking that. But definitely looking like it's got the possible potential. I think if you see the price action breaking 255, 257, that I'll be more enthusiastic, or looking at the mathematical likelihood odds of a move coming up to that level to be much, much higher. And many days ago, somebody mentioned the bread coin in one of my comments. So thank you everybody for the comments. That's is definitely one of the good things that I do get in return, is stuff like this. And then someone's like, oh, look at the movements on bread. It's got good movements. Oh, really? Yeah, we got this. We had this. Shorter volatility. We have this, this, and there's even some other ones. And this is short in here when you're talking. Let's just take a look at this high. The high is 56.78, the low is 4,800. That's still a 20% move top to bottom, or bottom to top. So it's got good moves amongst such. So yes, I do really like this coin. And when I was seeing it, I'm like, how can I not want to get into such a coin? 4-hour time frame after this little move in here, did it successfully correct? Well, what do I say with big moves? I need to see it hold and support the key areas. Well, obviously it didn't hold the 18 average on here, but did it hold where it came from? Well, where did it come from? Well, the answer was generally around this level of resistance. So I would be looking at it right in here, this little area here, which is exactly where it did support. So successful move thus far. What has it done or transpired since that point? It did this move, which means I would have liked it to see its support a little higher, which it didn't do. It came back to that same level. But after this move, I would have liked to see it go to 6,000. However, after it didn't support that point, it did support 56, and now it's getting above that close to 6,000 level, currently in at 61. As the 18 goes, spending the last few periods resisting the 18 of highs, and then we can see how it stayed and held above it over the previous period from now. There's 2 hours and 11 minutes left in this, so we're at the halfway point of this current period. Congesting, holding in, or not congesting, but just stabilizing right beside within that area. And when you see a candle halfway through, you expect decent movement in the candle already. The vast majority of these candle movements does happen in the first half of the period. Moving on to the single hour time frame, we can see a lot of this success, or the 18 average in here, showing it's showing strength amongst it. So I like the setup that this has for a possible good gain. But what these markets do is they have a lot of these fast moves. And just for fun, let's just take a quick look at how this, and I haven't done this in advance, how these little quick digit moves go into place. And that's just back time. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly once this is done, but I'm already getting my idea now as I'm just looking at this. Okay, so we're back to October. This is fine. So you see all these up and down choppy moves create beautiful market opportunities. So we look at this in October 29th, spot where the market, I don't need this line here anymore, but spot where the price action goes from 56 up to 59. So there's like a 5% move. Overall, the market goes from 56 up to 62, so a 10% move. And then it just chops the range down. Beautiful spot to fill some buy orders possibly. But if you did, you got, obviously you got a good price. Possible chance to sell up here. I mean, it's a 15-minute time frame. You're only looking at like 7-8% of the moves most of the time. But they can have the larger ones coming in. Here we go again, 50, this little quick little move. So the buyers come in fast and it rejects it, but it rejects it to where it came from. So I almost count these types of moves like this as artificial moves, meaning they sort of never really happened. The market would have been just doing its normal sideways thing anyway. But if you have your sell orders in place, only price pays, and they're going to actually hit. So whether it was an artificial move, as long as someone came in and put the buy in, here's a spot where we see in November the price action goes from 54 up to 64. So there's a 20% move, and then again it comes back to where it came from. So sort of like an artificial move. Short-term volatility here on November the 12th and 13th, as we have 5,300 move going to like, well, that's like a 2% move. But here we go again, fast little rally on November the 13th, coming from earlier at 53, breaking out at 54, and rallying up to about 64. So about close to a 20% move again, coming back to where it came from. Smaller move here, going from 52 and change to 56 and change, but that's still about 8%. And then another move up here. So yeah, a lot of good moves are occurring within this coin. There are some spectacular moves here, going from under 5,000 to over 6,000. So that did break the 20% number. And then this one here, the one that happened in November, going from 5,700 to 8,800. And then, again, artificial move, because the price action from the 1245 hour handle to the 2100 hour handle was congesting in the 6,300 area. And then it had that huge gain of about 40%, a little bit of day trade or a little bit of volatility until it would settle back down. But it came exactly where it came from at the 64. Only price pays. And then, of course, selling down there. And then the spot where it came down to 55, 55 up to 6,000. Down to 5,400, and then we see this move from 54 up to 59. Then, well, we're getting closer to where we are now, as this is November 30th. But then the very fast move again, 5,500 up to 7,500. So there's been a lot of these 20% moves. So that's why I like these types of codes where I can just have my buys and sell orders in, because if oftentimes I'm just going to sell it, it's going to come back to where I comes from, then I'm going to get the small gain on it every single time. And then if it has its monstrous gain, then I'm going to be ready for those as well. And this is the end of the video, so thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.